Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Not Another Fightcast. I am Andy the Icon Burrows, and I am without my co-host again, Mr. Phil, PC underscore commentary Campbell. Obviously, Phil and I have been socially distancing, staying away from one another, basically. We haven't been able to do a lot of podcasts together. We will get this up and running again once all this craziness starts to subside or starts to eventually get put back into the box. Today, I am incredibly lucky to be part of a great podcast with, in my opinion, one of Britain's best bare knuckle boxers. He is Dean Smudger Smith. He competes for BKB organisation, which is a bare knuckle British boxing organisation, which has got fighters from all around the world. So, Dean Smudger, how on earth are you today?
I'm good actually. Yeah, I've just been in the back garden doing some rounds on the bag and a few pad rounds, and I'm looking upon this I'm looking at it positively. I'm not being so negative. There's too many people out there being negative, and I think just this is never going to come along in our times, in our lifetimes ever again. So if you're going to take anything from this, take the chance. Take the chance that you've got of being around the family and enjoying it, and that's what I'm doing. I'm enjoying time with family.
That is probably the most positive I've seen about this craziness at the minute. But all this going on, how is your training going? There was supposed to be a bare knuckle boxing event coming up here in May. Is that cancelled or what's happening?
As far as I'm concerned, yeah, that won't be going ahead, mate. I'd be very shocked. I mean, you've got to understand that as soon as this is over, as soon as the lockdown's finished, then you've got to be looking at the fight is going to have at least 8 to 9 weeks before the event happens, because not everyone can tick over, not everyone can get them rounds and that time in the gym to even get the first few weeks out of the training done. And then to go into a BKB fight with only maybe, I don't know, they asked me going with 5 weeks worth of training, I think you'd be getting a watered down version of the fight you should be seeing. And I think in that way you'd be kind of robbing the fighters, the fans of the money. So I think the first event probably won't happen until maybe 7 to 9 weeks possibly of the lockdown being fully taken off. Yeah, lifted. Yeah. So
it's just such a very.
I've been finding it easy.
You've been finding it easy?
I've just been ticking over. Yeah, I've been ticking, mate. I've just been ticking over. I've been going out on bike rides with my little boy around the woods. We've been making swings. We've been in the back garden. I've got the bags in the back garden and some weights and stuff. So I've literally just been doing minimum, but enough just to satisfy. So, I mean, I won't be fighting on the next show. I'm fighting on the show after that. So there's no real rush for me. As long as I know I'm on weight, which I'm actually very lucky to be staying. I don't know why, but I've just kind of found my plateau for the weight. And I'm just sat at 75, so I'm 2 pounds over. It's nothing. It's absolutely
nothing. 2 pounds is nothing. It's not even something I'd bother considered even cutting weight for. Wouldn't it just like not drink a bottle of water or something before the weigh-in?
I'm enjoying my food, man. I'm eating what I want, and without extensively killing myself, I'm enjoying myself.
No, bare knuckle boxing is a sport that we're getting more and more of now. American organizations are springing up. Some of the larger mixed martial artists from in certain cases from yesteryear are making their way over. You have Bigfoot Silver, you have Chris Lieben, you had guys fighting in BKB such as Shawnee Carter, you had Melvin Gillard come over, you had Joe Diesel Riggs as well, all come over to bare knuckle boxing. This is a sport, in my opinion, that's rapidly growing, and it's something that I am personally very glad to see has sort of started to take off again. And it is kind of combat or boxing in its most purest form. How on earth did you find your way into this?
Lucky. I was just very lucky. My name got bounced around a few times and I made press with a devastating knockout of a local bully, and just went from there. Basically, it was I'd retired at 30-year-old. I decided I wasn't going to fight anymore, spend more time with my family and my little boy. And 4 years later, I found myself having some dilemmas with some locals, and just went from there. And I was just surprised. I was surprised at how quick I did get into it as well. It was 1 minute I was on the phone to Jim and then Joe, and we discussed things quite in detail. What was going to happen, where the fight's going to happen, where was going to happen, the venues and such, and pay and whatnot, contracts. And I was actually in a beefer, enjoying some time with two of my good pals, and I just got a text message through, a media message with my face on and the face of Johnny Lawson from Northern Ireland, and So I was in Ibiza Rocks, and I just turned to some of my pals, and I was actually with one of the ex-UFC stars. I forgot his name. Matty Askin, is
Not
it?
asking,
Askin?
yeah.
Yeah, so I was with him as well and a few others, and just turned to phone and like, yeah, I mean, I was pissed out of my head and
Brilliant.
fucking bouncing around the Beef Rocks, and everyone's like, yeah, fucking back. It was a mega moment. So it's never set in stone until the bell actually rings. But when you get a poster through with your face on it, you think,
Yeah,
well, we're there now. We can relax a
you know it's
little,
on.
then get to work later. Yeah, so that was the last time I had a proper blowout. And then just went from there, and I found that I fit right in, and I'm pretty good at promoting myself. So that just plays into their hands as well for the promoters. They love it.
Yeah, I don't think they have to work too hard with you. And incidentally, if anybody hasn't seen you fight, they need to find YouTube, or they need to find some bare knuckle boxing stream, or the next time it comes on TV, buy the pay per view, because I don't think you are capable of being in a boring fight.
Yeah, I've had one fight which I was pissed off about. I won't lie to you, mate. And it was a fight that wasn't supposed to happen, and it only happened because I think the scouting for the first prize fighter tournament was for one of the fighters was quite diabolical, and I ended up fighting the Kazakhstan guy, the Evren Kasantug. He was absolutely devastating, and he didn't want to
Yeah,
engage, and he was all fingers and no knuckles, and I'd already got through because he come in overweight, so it wasn't a case of me having to win the fight. I just had to just go, turn up. And,
yeah,
and in the back of your mind, even though you want to have a good war, which I do, I love a war. I also didn't feel the need to injure myself for the next round, which was a hard round against James Kennelly.
yeah.
So
There's no point taking a risk in that respect, but that shows
nah,
that that's a mind of a fighter as well. You can't take that risk because you know in the future there's bigger fish to fry ultimately, and for you that was a
yeah,
move on. And if anybody doesn't know, it was a bare knuckle boxing prize fighter esque tournament. Although the fights were not done on the same night, they were done over a period of months. And in that
yeah. Well,
case, there's £10,000 prize for the winner. Isn't that correct?
yeah, and that's the same that's happening now actually. So, but this is taking its time now. It's dragging its heels a bit. So we're actually in to the final now, and I'm fighting against an MMA fighter called Hubert Gevin from Netherlands,
Mm-hmm.
and he's quite a cocky person. He's a bit disrespectful, and I don't really like playing to them tunes. I'm not a sort of person to really have grudge matches neither, but don't really like this guy at all, and I think I've developed not hate, but a very strong dislike to him.
Which will
So
be obviously fuel the fight
yeah,
and
my
help, as you said,
motivation, yeah,
yeah, much more. And not only that, it helps promote the fight. If there's a genuine backstory, a good bit of a needle between the two guys fighting, you can't fail to sell tickets. And not only that, people
mm,
love a fight story. People adore a fight story.
yeah. Well, the thing with Herbert is, he was supposed to fight me on the was it 25th of January, and he broke his hand in 16-ounce gloves, and I've been boxing since I was 11-year-old, and I've never ever hit anyone with 16-ounce gloves on and hurt me. And in fact, to be honest with you, I normally spar in 14s,
Mm-hmm.
the maximum weight of 14s. And once again, I've never hurt my hands. I actually hit the heavy bag. I got Dom's bag in the gym, which is really really tightly packed, and I hit that as hard as I can with my bare hands, and I don't break my hands. So this guy, I don't know if it was a bit of a trick that he pulled because he had too much to eat over Christmas, or if he genuinely had hurt his hand. But I really do believe that he was pulling the wool over their eyes because
Yeah,
he couldn't hit the weight. And as soon as you come to a prize fight and you're not on weight, like the Everin Kasantug, if you're overweight, then you
that's it.
lose.
Yeah, that's your night over.
You can still fight, but you've lost. Yeah,
Yeah, but there's no point in
you can
even
still get in
taking
the
a
ring
fight
with
in
me.
that respect.
Nah, but you'd end up coming to UK, and he'd end up losing before he even gets in the ring, so it'd be pointless. So I think that he used that as an excuse, and that's where the needles come from. He started calling me the biggest clown in BKB, and I'm thinking, well, it's quite a title to try and throw into someone's name when
Yeah.
I've quite well established myself within this sport.
So
So
your route into bare knuckle boxing, people have found their way into it via a lot of things. You talked about Belfast, or sorry, Northern Ireland's own Johnny Lawson, a personal friend of mine, probably one of the toughest bastards I've ever trained with in my life. He's just crazy. He's so fucking tough. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Johnny obviously found his way in through glove boxing. There was other guys who found their way in through mixed martial arts, through kickboxing, through all these other different arenas. What sort of combat sport background did you have before you moved into BKB?
So I actually found my way in, probably the only person that finds his way in to the BKB pro rankings as someone who fought in yards in as a bare knuckle fighter in yards.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually had some extensive training within the army and as a junior. So I actually fought in the British Army as
Yeah.
a boxer,
So
and I
you went
fought
into
as a junior.
through. So you went in through service boxing. So you were in what branch of the military were you in?
Yeah, I was infantry. I was actually in Oma for two and a half, maybe 2.25 years.
Yeah.
And that's where I had one of my first army bouts. So in Lisanelli Barracks, I don't know
Oh,
if you know the place,
I know
in
Oma,
County
but
Tyrone.
I would never. I'd get lost looking in my back pocket most of the day. So trying to find anywhere for me is bloody difficult. So you found your way in
I've,
through. Hmm?
yeah, I'm just gonna say I spent a lot of days over there drinking around Port Russian and Enniskillen. So,
Oh,
I
two good places to
yeah,
choose as well.
yeah, very very good place. I do actually like Northern Ireland a hell of a lot. I've got a special place for it in my heart. So,
Yeah, I know a lot of people
um,
who've been in the military and have moved on since, and they all say still got a special place in their heart for Northern Ireland, even though it was a very, very difficult time for fucking everybody at the time, whether you were a resident here or a member of the services having to come over and work in that environment. It's fucking terrible for everybody.
yeah, I think for me, for Northern Ireland, it was because it was my first tour, and it was where I first found my feet within the military ranks as well. So it was my first experience of proper military life,
Yeah,
but military life on a residential tour where we're staying there for more than 6 months. I mean, at 2 years, 2.5 years, it was somewhere I got to know quite well.
yeah,
We spent a lot of good nights. I mean, even and I remember being stood on the top of Kelly's Bar.
brilliant.
I'd actually walked through their living space, whoever from the place, looking down at the bouncers, thinking, "Wow, someone's going to murder me." And I had a genuine fear for my life and safety, and I thought I need to get out of here. So, and it was my 19th birthday, and I got out of there fast and realised I'd lost my wallet and whatever else I had on me, and I had to walk from there to Ballykinler to
Oh,
the barracks. Yeah, it wasn't a very good
horrendous.
time, but yeah. So I found my way through normal glove boxing, but not in the pro ranks neither. I
Yeah,
wasn't never a pro. I should have gone pro, but never did. And I just did a lot of white collar stuff, did a lot of amateur stuff, and then yeah, just found like I said, it was pure luck. I found a new lease of life for fighting. I enjoyed it again. I had a fire back, and this just come along at the right time, and here we are.
that's brilliant. It's a good story as well. I'm incredibly intrigued by bare knuckle boxing. It's something it wasn't really around. As you said, you had some, if you want, in inverted commas, experience of bare knuckle boxing outside the ring
Yeah.
as well. But there is an awful lot. There's a tradition of that too, especially here in Ireland. I'm not going to stereotype one group of people, but Irish travellers do have a tradition of boxing, of bare knuckle boxing and bare knuckle fighting. So the tradition exists all over, and it exists throughout England too, regarding, I suppose, people with the
Yeah, it
travelling
does. Yeah,
community too.
it does. Yeah,
So I mean, those things they're not uncommon, but you then find yourself in this world, this new bare knuckle boxing world. And I can draw a bit of a parallel between mixed martial arts, the infancy of mixed martial arts. I fought in the first ever cage show in Great Britain. And there was this clamour of media, this insanity was basically just hanging off it. And people, thinking that people were going to get murdered, there was going to be blood, there was going to be all these horrible things. And I see a lot of that with BKB too. It's the same dickheads, the same
yeah,
people who don't understand what they're talking about are trying to tell you how to run your life. It's fucked up. And I'm glad BKB is still around to help us.
yeah. I enjoy the sport because even though like in every sport you get a lot of bullshit where people are talking smack talk, and you don't really get that in bare knuckle boxing unless it really is genuine. Where a lot of the boxers of today, they do it just purely for for the sales, the ticket sales. Now I'd like to say that it'd help people to sell the tickets, but at the same time, I think it'd turn a lot of people's noses away as well, because a lot of people just like this sport because of the respect that we have for each other.
Yeah, that is one
So,
thing that has stood
so
out for me. It's one thing that really
yeah,
has stood out for me. Watching a lot of the bare knuckle boxing, there's not that bravado and bullshit amongst the guys who are competing in it. You see, literally at the end of every round or the beginning of every round, they touch their hands, unless you say there is genuine animosity, but that's rare. That is
yeah,
really rare. Your fight with Johnny
yeah,
Lawson, even, I mean, that was one of the first things that introduced me to bare knuckle boxing, and what a fucking fight that was.
yeah. He took some big shots and kept going
Oh,
forward, and he actually wore me down, and I thought I was quite fit, but because I threw that much at him, everything in the kitchen sink, and I got to the very end, and the very last, I don't know, maybe a minute, I was feeling it bad. And he
yeah,
caught me with a few shots, and everyone said, "Oh, was you in danger?" To be honest with you, he was also tired, so what he hit me with didn't really do much. But the guy is well deserved to be in the position he's in. And when I actually looked at him as a real threat, I mean, no one had really been looking at him as a real threat, I don't think, when it comes to my fight, because I'd seen he's lost fights already. But
mm,
you got to understand that the guys he'd fought, Laffy was a very close fight, very close, and it could have gone either way. And some say that he won, did Johnny, and obviously Laffy got the win, and that's all that matters. And Ricardo Franco didn't put him away so easy. I mean,
no,
look what he did to Sean. Um, what's his shit name? The Manclad, Scouse lad.
uh,
Short who Scott McHugh fought, Sean McFarlane. So Ricardo Franco put Sean McFarlane away within 2 rounds. He struggled to do that with Johnny Lawson. He couldn't
yeah,
put Johnny Lawson away, and no one has actually put Johnny Lawson away yet.
no. I don't think that's.
So,
You've seen what he's, and you've been in there with him. You know firsthand
well, I've
what
not
it's
only been
like.
there with him, I've actually cornered him twice as well.
Yeah,
So, and the thing with Johnny, you've got to understand about Johnny is he likes to rush. He just wants to throw down constantly, and he's got to now stop. Look, take a step back, uh, observe, and then throw, because you've got time in there to do that. I mean, I know BKB is a faster paced sport, but you've always got time to watch. You've always got time to observe. Uh, I think he needs a 5 rounder. I think
I
Johnny
remember be
really
perfect for
needs.
him actually.
Oh, would it ever? I've said this
Hmm.
from after I fought him, and we discussed a lot of things that I've become good close friends with Johnny, and I did actually say that if anyone needs a 5 rounder, it's him.
Yeah, he
So
would be more
you
suited.
get to showcase. Yeah, it would. Like you get some fights. You get some fighters in glove boxing or even MMA. You get them to the 5 rounders or you get them to the 12 rounders, and they find it struggle. I
Yeah,
think Johnny's one of them where you get him into the championship rounds and he will start to shine.
he's starting to get stronger. You can, but his fitness is frightening too. He just didn't seem to, very similar to you in that respect, where it's constant action, and you're wearing guys out even before they have a chance to even collect themselves to realize they're in a fight. It's virtually too late.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Exactly. So, hopefully, he'll get after this win he's just had with Robin Deakin. He'll get a better fight next. We don't want him fighting. We don't want him going back the way now. He's got his first win. He's got the inertia of the motivation now of the win he's just had, and he should use that. Which I spoke to him only yesterday actually. And we had a good discussion about his training and stuff, and I take a keen interest. And I said to him, these are the fights I think you should have. And I named a couple of names, and I said, and even a Laffy replay would be a good fight.
That would
Why not,
sell. That would sell straight away.
mate? I 100% believe that's a good
Hmm.
fight to make right now. It was a close fight before. Why not run it back? They've got another 2 years experience under the belt since that fight. It's a good fight to
Yeah.
make.
Both guys would be definitely not the same fighters at the worst end. Nobody really knew. This is a similar thing to MMA, and I'm drawing that parallel directly again. Nobody really knew how it was going to go. People thought, well, they might get one or two shows out of this, and then that'll be it. The pin
Yeah,
will be pulled, and people will run off. They'll not want to see it, but it's stayed. And one of the things that has
yeah.
shocked me, not shocked me, but you've seen more, if you want, professionals making the move into
Over.
BKB. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
not like, it's not now, the purvey of a guy or girl, a scrapper anymore. It's now like professionals are viewing this as a viable combat sport opportunity, which is, as far as I'm concerned, brilliant. Carry on with it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it helps us as well, the ones who are already involved. When they see other names coming forward and wanting to get involved and signing up, it does actually put more confidence in the sport. and it, it's, if we just keep doing what we're doing and keep our integrity, and keep pushing the name BKB out there, then it'll reach every household, and they'll start opening their eyes up and seeing that actually this sport isn't any more dangerous than other sports. In fact,
No.
it's actually a lot safer.
I mean,
It's a lot safer.
you said something earlier on about using 16-ounce gloves or using the normal weight. Obviously, boxers would normally compete with tens, yeah, tens or eights.
Yeah,
You said something about you train, wouldn't spar in anything even over a 14 now. You realize yourself whenever you're sparring or whenever you're competing with larger gloves on, you can dole out an awful lot more punishment simply because your hands are nice and protected. You talked about never damaging your hands. I'm one of these guys who broke my hands constantly in any glove I wore. Every time you
yeah.
can just, oh shit, I've broken another hand. Um, and that seems to
Okay.
be something that I'm watching these guys and their hands are just mangled after the fight. The damage these guys are doing, and it just looks
I've
like
got
a
nothing.
hammer now. You've got that
No,
left hand hammer.
yeah. I've got
Yeah,
no damage on any of my knuckles. I've got no damage to my face. I've only got a couple of scars on my eyes,
yeah,
and I'm proud of them scars.
absolutely.
I don't,
Anybody
I
who isn't
don't
is
actually.
crazy.
Yeah, I don't actually think BKB is remotely as dangerous
No,
as glove,
you
because glove
in
boxing.
essence, yeah, glove boxing. You're taking a lot of concussive blows over a larger
Yeah,
surface area, and you can absorb more with the softer. I say a softer pad that's hitting you. It's still a fucking big glove inside a trained fighter smashing you in the face, but you're getting I'm using the term superficial, but you're getting cut with these sharp knuckles to the eyes and maybe the bridge of the nose. You're not taking these brilliant concussive blows. You're taking a lot of superficial cuts rather than
yeah,
concussions and knock. You do see knockouts in BKB. You see some fucking great knockouts, but not
yeah.
as
But they're
many in
not.
glove boxing.
No, no. You see glove boxing ones, they're down on the floor for a hell of a long time.
Yeah,
You see them stiffen. You actually see them stiffen up. I've not actually seen that in BKB yet.
no,
I mean, if you just look at some of the recent knockouts, who have we got? Some of the recent knockouts that we've seen. So CJ Mills were on the floor. He took a big shot off Daniel Lowell, and they're big lads. They're not small. If you was to
no,
put them in the division of boxing, you're looking at heavyweights.
yeah,
So you got to understand that when there's lads like that getting big shots with a bare knuckle and they're getting up like a minute, 2 minutes later maximum, and they're
mm,
fine. They've got no concussion. It's
no,
because you've pinpoint shotted when you've hit them. You've caught them. You've connected nice, and you don't need to take 6-7 shots to go down. If you take 6-7 shots, and by the seventh or even sixth shot you've been hit with, your legs give out and you're shut down, then you really have damaged yourself.
totally
Because
damaged. Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. So
science is now telling us that too. You could see the removal of head guards in senior
I'm
elite
just about to
amateur
say that
boxing.
in amateur, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, they actually say that they don't actually help, and anything as well. If anything, they actually dull your senses as well. So not only do they impede with with your senses, they then obviously they can cause more damage on your brain. So
yeah.
there's two factors as to why they shouldn't really be used.
No, I think that now I'm probably talking out of school here, but there was a study done on that, and they were talking about how getting struck starts to dissipate the damage around the head more. It's my wee tiny dog coming in, pushing the door open, torturing me now.
It's all right, man. It's all
Yeah,
good.
my tiny got an adorable little rescue dog, and she can't be without me for more than about 20 minutes, and she has to run upstairs to see what I'm doing.
I mean, I've got a boy that's like that. He's not a rescue boy. He's a nightmare boy.
This wee thing,
um,
we went to get her as a wee tiny rescue, so she's had her for about 3 years now, and I can't be without her. So she has to be in everywhere I am, turn around or trip over the poor wee darling. But
Nothing more
yeah,
than a
so,
good companion.
they're wonderful. I literally wouldn't be without her, and I can't be without her.
Good
So
man.
you believe that, as I do completely, that the damage done to a bare knuckle boxer is less than it would be in the rounds are
Yeah,
different too. You fight for less
yeah.
rounds.
So that's why it's a faster paced sport, because you need to get your rounds in. You need to win them rounds fast. Your standard fight's 3 rounds. A British title fight or a title eliminates 5, and then your world title 7 rounds.
Mhm.
There's only been 7. I think there's only been 3 or 4 7-round fights ever actually gone 7 rounds. How mad is that? I'm sure there's
That's
only 3.
insane. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's not been many. And I think the first one to go the full 7 rounds with Ricardo Franco, the current world champion, will be Jimmy Sweeney for the title, and James Kennelly. So that fight was the first to go 7 rounds. The other, 7 rounds to the bell. The first one to go 7 rounds, but not to the bell, was Sean George and Jimmy Sweeney that went to the 7th round, and then Sean George got stopped. But to go 7 rounds with BKB is a big
It's an
fucking shout.
amazing feat of fitness too. That's one of the things that people don't seem to understand. Like, this is one of the most, boxing in general is one of the toughest sports on planet Earth. But then to remove the gloves and then to continue that for so long, I talk about damage to the hands and stuff like that. Even the pain people sometimes have to put up with in a glove fight. I mean, I can only imagine the difference in a bare knuckle fight.
Yeah, well, if you see there's actually pictures and videos of the lads' hands and stuff from after shows, and you can actually see even some lads after 3 rounds, their hands are ballooned up. I mean, the only fight I've had any dramas with my hands with was actually my first one against Johnny Lawson, and they weren't even that bad, just a little bit of swelling. I just couldn't make a fist, but it was just the top of my fingers and do you know the top of the knoll of the knuckle there?
Yeah.
That there. When you're throwing hooks, sometimes that gets caught, and I'm guessing you've heard that before when you've been doing something, even boxing. That there, when they swell, it's the worst feeling in the world. You can't grip anything. I
No,
couldn't
you
grab
can't
my
hold
steering wheel.
anything. I actually, years and years ago, a long time ago, it was actually like my last MMA fight before I retired, and I remember I hit the guy that many times that there was 4-ounce gloves. That the next day I was trying to cycle in and out of work, and I couldn't put my hands on the frigging handlebars of the bike. I was like, oh fuck!
Yeah,
I hardly pull the brakes. I was like, oh. Now they weren't broken; they were just swollen, but they were swollen in, like as you pointed out, that these little interphalangeal joints were swollen up to fuck. I could hardly shit, I'm gonna get run over because I can't even pull the fucking brake.
It's horrible, mate. It's horrible.
But it's like the least. It's like the least manly thing you've hurt in a fight. You might come up with a cut eye, black eye, and you can. What's wrong? Oh, I hurt my wee fingers. Really, cupcake.
Sorry, I know, man. I know. So the only issue I've had with my hands so far, and it hasn't even been done in a fight, is I can't actually straighten that finger anymore, which is my wedding finger. So I can't wear my wedding ring anymore because I was training Scott McHugh, the mute, and I had some fingerless pads on. So my fingers actually just snuck out the top of the pads, and as if through a hook, bent that finger right back, and wow. And I've been trying to straighten it out ever since. I've been massaging it,
Good
and it
luck.
that's as straight as I can make
that's it. Never going back.
So well, I can just point at people right weirdly with it.
With one weird, creepy finger.
So you don't deserve a respectful point. You're getting a crooked point.
You're getting a creepy wedding finger point.
So
I have a question actually about BKB in general. It's not a sport I'm ignorant of, but it's a sport I want to know more of. Technique wise, I am a big exponent of body punching. I always, whenever I'm coaching, I constantly go on about body punching. Something I like to do.
Underrated. It's an underrated shot, isn't it? It's an underrated shot.
To me, it's my favorite way of boxing and competing in mixed martial arts. It's underused completely. Now, with the gloves on, I would utilize specific techniques, even the angle of the hand, where I place my feet, how I turn my shoulders forwards or back. With BKB, how do you alter that technique to suit an ungloved hand rather than a gloved hand?
So, I ain't really thrown as many body shots within BKB as I normally would, especially like in sparring and stuff. And I'm very selective on the shots that I do throw. I normally find that I wait for them to crouch up, to guard, and then I throw where I can see. But I mean, I caught James Kennelly with a very good one in the 5th round of our fight, and it was a pristine shot as well. He actually complained of it right up until the end of his training regime or his training camp for the Ricardo fight. So the shots, if you can utilize them properly and you can get them shots in and get them landing nice, then they will work brilliant. The picture, but because you know yourself, even with gloves on, if you got the elbow down and you're guarding and you just throw that shot in willy-nilly, you can easily break an hand, and that's the fight over. And if it's not the fight over, it's certainly not going to be all going your way.
No,
So with BKB, you don't really see as many body shots thrown,
no.
especially with Venom. But they're thrown loosely.
Yeah, it was something I really definitely did want to find out. The other thing I want to talk about in as regards to technique aspect, when you're throwing shots to the head, obviously the head is designed to house our brain, and it's the hardest portion of the human body. The front of the skull is immensely hard. Whenever you're throwing against that, do you modify your technique? Obviously, we talk about corkscrewing the shoulders. We talk about quarter turn of your right hand to your left. If you're throwing a right, quarter turn your left to your right when you're throwing your left. Do you turn the hand over? Do you keep your fist vertical,
Yeah.
horizontal? There's so
So
many. Even the angle of the hand can change
there
the
is.
scope of a shot.
It does change a lot of things, and I think that a lot of fighters just find that they don't throw a shot once again with as much venom. Because I don't know if you'll notice, um, if you've ever just sat there, and it's a bit of a weird thing to say this because it does sound quite fetish type. I don't know, but if you just stand there and just give yourself a tap on the face. You know, we've all been angry before, and I think a lot of us have got fucking hell, what have I done that for? You know, and I've been in that position where I've done it before. It sounds just sound pathetic, but when you just give yourself a little tap with your knuckles just on your cheekbone itself, you don't have to throw very hard for it to hurt.
No.
I promise you, it is. You've got so many senses, you've got so many nerve endings in your face. You got to understand that you can pull 1,000 facial expressions. You know, how many muscle
Yeah.
types, quick twitches from just
Mm.
just talking in general as well. Just a tap here or there, just a little one. I mean, I don't urge anyone at home to keep knocking fuck out themselves, but I do urge them to just do that, just a little tap, and see that you don't have to throw so hard with every shot. And I think the fighters that go in there just milling and just throwing as hard as they can, they're the ones that you find break their hands.
Yeah.
And yes, so if you ever go in sparring, someone says 50%. So you go out 50%. So you pull your punches, you're only throwing 50%. You don't always have to throw as hard as that in BKB. Because
Yeah.
sometimes just a little tap is enough.
Yeah.
Right, to not to for your opponent not to want to throw or
Yeah.
come forward. So
Or even
yeah,
open up a cut, and you get, as we talked about, the cuts that obviously the knuckles can do. Our knuckles are very sharp. The cuts that they open up on a person's face can blind them. Maybe
yeah,
add that into a shot. Perfect
one right
and
there,
covered as well, man. They're
and a couple of them
superb.
now, and I've actually
People
yeah,
should be proud of them.
yeah. Do you know what, mate? I'd rather be. This is my philosophy on BKB, and I've said it on a few podcasts now. So if anyone's listening to the podcast and heard me once, then you're sick to death of hearing me. Then fair play. But I always say this: I'd rather talk about the scars on my face than not to be able to talk about the scars on my brain. Because in years to come, let me tell you, these scars, I better say, okay, my hands are a bit battered, and I can remember wiping my ass, but I can't wipe my ass. But I promise you now, I'll know about the stories that these have brought me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or that
Rather than,
that I've got from these, yeah.
as you say, a long life in glove boxing. You see it so often now,
Of
sadly.
course you do.
With and there are tragic cases of people who are permanently injured in the ring. We
Yeah,
in Britain know obviously about Spencer Oliver. We know about Michael Watson, but there's lots and lots throughout. Sadly, the world of glove boxing that people have sadly even lost their lives as a result. And there was a couple last year actually. A couple of guys sadly passed away last year through glove
yeah.
boxing. So I mean, it's not. We know it's not for the faint-hearted. We know it's not fucking. We're not going to go for
I
a
think the
knitting class.
prime, your prime suspect in all this, or your prime example, is Muhammad Ali. Because let's be honest with you, if you speak boxing, you always speak Muhammad Ali,
Yeah,
and he took a hell of a lot of punishment, probably more than most have in their boxing careers,
and he went
probably
on for
more
five
than
years
most
too
will.
long. 5 years far too
Yeah, yeah,
long. Maybe even
of
longer than five.
course.
Maybe he should have been quit 10 years before that, probably.
But when do you reckon that problem started? Because I can guarantee it might have even been, maybe not even noticeable to anyone.
Oh
Maybe he
no,
didn't even
I was
notice
going
about it.
on
But
from
I
the
reckon,
background. He would have noticed it.
yeah,
He would have been the little forgetful things. I mean, genuinely, I have a bit. I don't say I have a bit of that, but I do forget things, and I'm sure most people
I
are.
do. I do. Yeah.
Is
So I do a lot of sparring, me. A lot of my training is through sparring. I love
yeah,
sparring. I actually enjoy it.
I actually used to love
So
sparring. But I decided that whenever I hit 40, that was it. No more sparring. I'm not getting hit in the face again unless I absolutely have to. That is me done it, and I loved it. And every now and again, I still have this wee notion, I could go back to sparring. I think no, I'm just going to fucking force myself not to do it again, even though it's addictive and it's wonderful. And I fucking loved every second of it. Even if I was the hammer or I was the nail, it was brilliant fun. I'm just going to force myself.
Yeah, I find the same, mate. If I've done a session in the gym and I'm leaving the gym and some lads come in when they've got the gear on and say, "Oh, you're sparring, Smudge," and I go,
Yep.
"Just wait there."
Yeah.
I put my stuff back on and I get back in the ring.
The
I'm
amount of
terrible for
times
it.
the amount of times I did that, and everybody has great sparring stories, but we used to have, I'm sure you guys, any boxing clubs the same, but we used to have these mammoth sparring sessions. I'm going to keep people's names out of it, but there was 5 or 6 of us, and they were so insane, and I mean properly insane, that if anybody walked in the door, they would have turned straight around and left. People would have, I'm not getting involved. There was one guy who's a very, very intelligent individual, has a fantastic job, and we were talking, I even forgot, this is how bad, I forgot he was involved in these sessions. And he said, fuck, it was that bad. I crashed my car twice, once on the way home. I was like, what the fuck? These were the creep, like they were fucking mental, and I'm so glad I'm never doing that. And I would never coach anybody now to be involved in that. Because
well,
shit.
Let's hope moving forward as people that have been there and done it, that we can maybe advise those coming up and through that
you don't have to make the same
at
mistakes.
least,
that's the thing.
Yeah, be smart about your training. Don't push yourself to that next level when you don't need to. You can still spar and have a good sparring session without going silly. I mean, to be honest with you, I enjoy sparring. I don't do as much hard sparring as I did do a couple of years ago. I'm a bit more relaxed with how I approach sparring now.
More selective, really.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I used to spar a hell of a lot of lads that were heavier, so I was fighting cruiserweights and heavyweights and light heavyweights, and I get in there more than happy to just trade, and more. It was more of an ego trip. Don't know why, just being egotistical. Look at me. I don't mind. I can take them, but that'll only get you so far before you get knocked on your ass
and you'll always
and
find
find
somebody
yourself
tougher. That's the thing. You always come across somebody who's tougher.
Course, man. I mean, there's some really, really good talent in the gym. I'm where I train at Golden Team. They call it my church, and it is my church. But the lads down there, they're very respectful, and no one ever takes advantage of the other person. Everyone knows everyone else's skill level. I hate going to gyms. I used to do it as a younger lad. I used to go into gyms, and as soon as you stepped in, they'd throw you in with the hardest bastard, and they'd just do it just to.
Yeah.
And I think just for them just to try and prove a bit of masculinity or whatever. I don't know, but I think them gyms are the worst gyms to go to, because
a lot of places get a terrible name for that too, and that gives boxing a bad name in general, because people will always come away. If you have a great experience, you might tell 5 people. If you have a fucking awful experience, you're going to tell 50 people. Went down that gym, they kicked the shit out of me, threw me in with this guy, beat the fuck out of me, and never put a pair of gloves on. And you'll tell many people, and that spreads, and it's I was going to say, it goes viral. How very topical. It goes literally like a virus, and then everybody knows that's what boxing is, or thinks that's what boxing is. Fucking nowhere near it. Most of the gyms I've been to have been respectful and great, although there have been a couple where they've just went, oh, off you go, and you're, oh god, you know what? But
they're the ones. They're the ones where you know that the guys haven't got so much experience, or they're just ignorant. They're not bothered.
Yeah.
They're not really bothered about the fighters.
No.
The gym where I'm at the moment at Golden Team, it's probably the best gym I've ever been to.
Where is that? Where are you based?
I'm Leeds, mate. I'm in Leeds, so I'm in the north, Sender Raven. But a bit of a Game of Thrones there. Basically, you find that most people in the north are quite nice anyway. Fighters in general are nice people. I think
that's one of the things. I think that's one of the things that people miss, because you don't have anything to prove. If you look at, I use Johnny Lawson as a great example. If you look at Johnny Lawson, he's got lots and lots of tattoos. He's a big, tough dude. He's one of the nicest people you ever wish to meet in your life.
Quiet, very quiet, very quiet.
And it's the same with somebody like you. Tough guy, tattoos, scars, and yet have a chat with the person, and they're probably just one of the nicest people you could ever wish to meet. I find that with a lot of fighters.
Yeah. I go out my way just to talk to people. I mean, I've noticed a lot of people trying to judge. I've had a lot of people judge me before. upon sight, you can see that they're judging. And I try
Of
to strike
course.
a conversation with him, and within 5 minutes, they want my number. They
Yeah.
want to know a lot more. So
Uh,
it dissuades that it dissuades people from maybe judging people as easy.
well, you actually you touched on something that I found as well, that obviously shaved head, cauliflower ears, facial scars, broken nose, tattoos, and as you know, I talked about my rescue dog. I love patting dogs, so if I see a dog out in the street, I'll approach it to pat it. Oh, look, there's a lovely, and you can see the owner basically like fumbling for their wallet just to give it. No, I just want to pat the dog. I'm actually a nice person. They're like, this fucking lunatic. He's got sportswear on. He's got tattoos and a shaved head. He's definitely going to rob it. Oh no, he just wants to pat the dog. So as you say, people do judge you based on your appearance, which is totally fucking unfair.
They do, mate. But it's just how a lot of people have been raised, and I suppose, yeah, we're raised like that, and it's hard to come out of that sort of that. We're habitual out. It's an habit. It's
It
just
is a
something we
habit.
do naturally.
It is a habit. It's learned behavior. There is,
Yeah,
for
of course it
me,
is.
going back to BKB, because I can sit and talk shit all day. I'm fucking really great at it.
It's good, man. It's good.
Brilliant. But going back to BKB, what I've noticed about the guys who are competing in especially the British version of BKB, there are some fucking awesome characters that are there,
Yeah, it's a good
personality
mix, good
wise.
blend.
We touched a wee bit. Guy Tyler Goodjohn, massive personality. There's Eric Bloodaxe, fucking best name ever, by the way.
He's
You
just
have,
been up here. I actually got him an apartment up here to
yeah,
come train with me, and then this lockdown happened. But he's a lovely bloke.
yeah. But his personality, you can see him at the way, and he lives it. It's a fantastic nickname as well. He's a New Yorker, isn't
Yeah, he's not as bad as he made. He
he?
plays the pantomime. He plays the pantomime part. He's when you meet him firsthand, he's a lovely bloke. If you meet him on the internet, he will absolutely destroy your life.
Oh yeah.
So
But I like that.
I
I
laugh at
like
all
that
his
role.
stuff.
But I like that. It kind of sells the personality. That, if you want the gimmick, to use a pro wrestling term. But you
Yeah,
also have,
very underrated. Very underrated, I think, as
he's a
well. He's
tough
better than
dude.
he's better than his record says, I think.
Yeah.
But sometimes he believes his own hype as well. Unfortunately.
I think I think he's good for the sport. I do think he's good for the sport. And you have guys like Dave Navarro, a tough Scottish guy he is fucking teak tough as well. Another dude.
He's not involved anymore, Do you know that? He's not involved
No,
anymore.
what happened?
Yeah, he got sacked. To be honest with you, mate, he got a lot of chances, and he, he just thought he'd won every fight he'd had, and I think he only won one round in the whole. Don't get me wrong, mate. It was a good character to have around if you
Yeah.
wanted a grudge match. You needed him for a grudge match. I was actually picked to fight him if I'd have lost against Lafferty, but we've got to understand with Navarro he's another one. He definitely believes his own hype. He thinks he's the world's best boxer. He thinks that he beat Sean George. He thinks that he beat Tyler Goodjohn. He thinks that he beat. I mean, to be honest with you, he beat Lawson, but I don't think he did beat Lawson. I
No,
think he
not
won
gonna
that
lie.
fight.
I give Johnny actually his first. I give him the fight against Lafferty, and I give him the fight against Frank against him as well. But I think that maybe that's me being a bit biased. But I'm glad you agree with
Yeah,
me when you
no.
see that. I think he beat Navarro, and I think he beat Lafferty as well.
Yeah, it was a close fight with Lafferty. And there's like I say, there's a lot to say that it did, and there's a lot to say it didn't. And it'd be a fight that I think I'd like to watch being replayed. We mentioned this off camera, and I
Yeah.
think it's a fight that I think that right now, Scott McHugh was meant to fight Lafferty for the rematch, but he's now fighting for the British title against James Lilly. If you're listening to this about BKB for the first time, whoever's listening, these are names that you'd be nice to look up, because these guys have, they've shown the heart, they've shown courage, they've shown skill, they've shown a lot of things that a lot of fighters this day and age have lost as well. There's a lot of
Sadly,
people who
lacking in
struggle
a
with
lot of
emotion.
combat
Yeah,
sport now.
lacking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
A
mean,
lot
look
of
at Amir
internet.
Khan. Look at Amir Khan with he's got no heart. The guy's got no chin, he's got no heart, but yeah, he's up there with the best boxers, and I don't know why. Why he's even getting another shot at any fight, I don't know. He should be retired.
I always had a real soft spot for Khan, and I kind of felt he was the first media Olympic darling. Remember him and Audrey? I can now call
Yeah,
him
well,
Audley Harrison. That were kind of
oh,
flashed.
he would overrated.
I actually
Terrible,
remember
terrible fighter.
meeting Audley Harrison
Oddly.
years and years ago. Yeah, in Belfast. It was the 2001 Amateur Championships, and I was doing a door in a bar in Belfast. And in came this dude, and he was fucking gigantic, wearing this big like white suit and everything. It's like, that's Audley Harrison. He's larger than life, and I think him and Cam were thrust at the public very quickly
Yeah, the
after
one him,
their
him and Danny Williams.
Danny Williams.
Terrible fights. I hated them fights. I watched them. I stayed up to watch them fights because I think it twice or three times I fought. I can't remember now, but I watched them anyway, and just absolutely flat. Just didn't enjoy it all. It was a lot of head
No, a
movement, but yeah, a lot of head locking, a lot of arms and
lot
stuff,
of
and it just
plotting
wasn't an
as
entertaining
well.
fight.
No, and I think I felt kind of sorry for him too. I'm sure he made a good living out of it. So I mean, he probably doesn't need my pity. He probably go, fuck you, fat git, get my pity. But he's probably, he probably made a good living out of it. He was, I think it was BBC dived behind him straight away, and I think it was something similar with Khan. Remember, he fought Mario Kindlen on a food
Yeah.
show, but as an amateur, and you knew what was going to happen. It was, it was virtually
It's,
preordained.
it seems to be a thing that happens a lot, with the Olympic fighters. Look what happened with Luke Campbell.
Yeah,
Since then, I mean, he's fought Lomachenko, and
it was a good fight.
I think he shows his world level now, but at the
Mhm.
same time, he's not really done very much. Look,
The
he's not
French
done as
guy he
well as
fought
we
as well.
expected. Yeah, he's not done as well as we expected. I don't think. Just the same as Audley, just
Mm.
the same as Amir Khan. Amir Khan become the world champion, but look at that against Brady Prescott, where he got beat within like 60 seconds.
He got absolutely ironed out by Prescott, and I
Yeah,
think what he had done there too, he was really just learning to become a professional. He was leaving what was a very
yeah,
rigid
amateur.
amateur style and
Yeah,
moving into the professional game. And he came across a seasoned guy there who knew, I'm going to dive on him. The crowd are going to be wanting on his back quickly here. But now, incidentally, Prescott can fucking hit. But I
did he
don't
ever
think,
put him stiff, didn't he?
yeah, I don't think Khan got a chance to get started there, and I think that Prescott did the right thing. But I agree with you in certain cases about Amir too. He's talked a good game, but he's not really backed a lot of it up. His fight
Nah,
with
he's never.
Canelo,
Yeah,
fuck, that was
Canelo's a
devastating.
beast. Canelo's a beast, and I think you were always going to win. Canelo had that fight before he even signed up that fight.
He knew
But
just
yeah, we
money in the
digress
bank.
a bit. Yeah, we're on about Mark Navarro. So Mark
Yeah,
Navarro, he started mouthing off a bit. He mouthed off plenty anyway. He never did shut up. He taught the good game. Made out that Laffy wasn't a real Scottish fighter and blah 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 blah. Calling himself the Dundee Soldier. But I'm thinking, right, so there's a lot of wrong going into that. One
mm-hmm.
is Navarro joined the army and didn't get past 6 weeks in basic training. Dog shit.
Right.
He then did something called Stolen Valor. You know what Stolen Valor is?
I do indeed. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, he claimed he'd done this, that, and the other, he spoke about being ex-SAS,
Oh dear.
and and it kind of ended him. But
Well,
he beat
anybody who does that,
yeah, it's not good, mate.
fuck.
There's guys put the
Well,
bloody the
yeah,
whole world on
but
the
there's
line.
also there's also now a culture of fucking weirdos who are doing that.
Yeah, Walter Mitty's, yeah, they're
Yeah,
terrible.
there's even a Facebook website. Have you seen it? It's brilliant. It's
Yeah,
called Walter
they
Mitty
hunt them
Hunters
out.
Club. Yeah, and
Yeah,
they
yeah.
fucking catch them out. Oh, just fucking
So,
great.
so what Mark Navarro did was was meant to fight me or Lafferty, whoever lost against me and Lafferty. So they were actually going to put that fight on Burns night, which was the 25th of January.
Mm-hmm.
Lafferty against Navarro. Now, Lafferty would have fought him. He actually was looking forward to that fight. And what a night to have it on as well. And then they offered it to Navarro, and then Navarro said, "I'll fight when I'm good and ready." But calling all the shots, and then started mouthing off at Joe, who's one of the company owners,
Mm-hmm.
and essentially got himself kicked off, got himself sacked. So I don't think he actually wanted that fight. And going into his fourth fight would have been his fourth loss. Was it his fourth loss? 2, 3. I think no, fifth loss. It would have been his fifth. He would have lost that fight against Lafferty. It would have been a tough fight for both, but I think Lafferty would have beaten him, and it would have been ended anyway. So I don't think him going to that fight would have done himself any favours.
No, I didn't know. I agree with you. I didn't know about the whole stolen valor thing there. That's kind of fucking put a real.
Yeah,
Obviously,
yeah,
like
but
that's like somebody pissing in your fucking soup.
yeah, I'm like what he actually nicknamed me the granddad of BKB.
What age are you
Did
in?
Navarro?
What age
I'm
are you now?
36. I'm
Fuck's sake.
36. No, he nicknamed me Grandad because he said I always stick my nose in. I went, I don't stick my nose in. I'm a bit of an umpire. I like to make sure that, you know, I kind of mediate problems, me,
Yeah.
because we don't want this sport to be one of them sports where everyone's just effing and jeffing each other and giving everyone stick for no reason, or just causing problems for no reason at all. So sometimes I kind of mediate things, and maybe I shouldn't, but I just find my age and experience and wisdom that I find that I just do it naturally.
Yeah. Some people just
So
find that role, and there's nothing
yeah,
ultimately wrong with doing that. And I think obviously somebody like him too, he's got a few things to hide. So the last thing he wants to do is somebody bringing that up and humiliating them ultimately, which it seems so. It's, I didn't
yeah,
know he'd been sacked. There's also guys like Jimmy Sweeney, who Jimmy Sweeney is
yeah.
such a fighter, such a great boxer.
He is, mate. Very fast hands. He's strong, technical. He comes on angle. He comes off on different angles. Um, he's not got many weaknesses, to be honest with you. I think his
No,
only weakness is the fact that he's lost, and I think it plays with his head.
you think that? Do you think something like will play with his head, or do you think that he will come back a better
I think he
fighter
comes
after
back
that?
stronger, but I think he fight. I think he fight. So some people can take losses easy, some people can take losses hard, and I think
Yeah,
Jimmy, because he's so out there and normally in control, and he's not lost many. I think he finds the loss a bit harder to take.
yeah,
But I think, you know, coming back and coming back into training camp, and the motivation must be soaring through the roof. So I don't think a loss is always bad. I actually take a loss easily. I take the loss. I think if you can't take a loss in combat sport, then you shouldn't be in the sport,
no, he shouldn't
because
be in it.
you should expect that you're going to win, but expect that you could lose.
Yeah,
Expect that you're going to win, but expect that you could lose.
there's
And
always
if you
that
do
chance.
lose, yeah, I think if you don't take it well, then you not only do you lose, but you look bad losing.
I
And no one
100% agree
who
with you.
wants to look bad losing. Who wants to
You
look bad
know,
losing? No one does.
I 100% agree with you. There's a he's not a commentator for ESPN. A guy called Chael Sonnen. He always says there's 50 every time you
Yeah,
take a fight, there's a 50% chance you're going to lose because there's only two people in there. When you look at it like that, I'm like, I never really thought about it like that. But and he's a guy who obviously took wins in good stead and took his losses equally as well. So I always thought that's a pretty damn good way to look at combat sports and fighting in general.
yeah.
You know, you're
I
not
always
really
look at
out there to lose, but
I know, but I always look at a fight like, I don't think the fight is won or lost when the bell starts. I think the fight is won and lost when you take the fight, when you start training, when you put your mind to it, when you get your structure of how you're gonna work your training
yeah.
regime. I think that's how you win. And I also believe that you shouldn't judge everyone on the wins. I think you should judge them on the
No.
losses. I
Yeah,
put a
because
big
you can
thing up the other
look
day.
at who you've been in with. That's the thing. A lot of
Yeah,
people don't do that. They'll say, "Oh, this guy's got a 10-0 record." You go, yeah, but who's he fought? You know,
yeah.
there's
So
no
I
names on the
always,
record.
yeah, exactly, mate. So I put a thing up the other day saying, you know, don't judge me on my losses to better fighters. Don't judge me on my wins to worse fighters.
Yeah, and
You know what I
that should
mean?
be actually that's a good mantra. You should get that in a t-shirt.
Yeah, no, but I've got it as a slogan. I've got a couple now. One is, if it ain't a fight, if I ain't bleeding.
Perfect.
So if I ain't bleeding, I ain't been in a fight.
I
Um,
watched the thing. I watched the thing the other night. It was about Chuck Wepner, the inspiration for
yeah,
Rocky.
another guy. Yeah, yeah,
And that's what they said about him. You know, he says he even bleed at the press conference, and you're like, oh fuck, give the guy a break. But he was an inspiration for Rocky, and it's an excellent story. It's a fantastic story actually, and it's just
yeah. He's I
really.
don't go on. Sorry, mate.
He's just a really he wasn't a crazy dude, but he had a crazy life. He had like, you know, he's one of those people who's literally done everything, been in with some of the best, and yet he's come out of it now. I don't know what the settlement was, but I think Stallone and him came to some sort of settlement regarding money
Ah,
over
right,
his
okay.
life. Yeah, I don't know what they never really discussed the settlement, but he came out of it pretty well. But I imagine or else he would have just carried on with the court case.
Yeah, I can imagine. If you get a number that you're happy with, then
Oh yeah, he
why
must
not
be
take it?
happy
You know what
enough
I mean?
with whatever outcome.
I think
Um,
greed is a big thing this day and age. I think,
Greed is a
I,
fucking horrible
yeah,
monster. It's a horrible monster that
mm,
overtakes people terribly, and I think it's tied in with ego and fear. The three of them, they're fucking hateful.
yeah.
I
I
have
don't
a
have a lot of
question.
money. I've got
No, no,
enough. I've got enough. It just gets me by, and I think, I mean, who doesn't want more? But I think too many people put too much stress on having too much money and all material stuff. But I think that, all you need to do is take a look at some of the very wealthy people that have actually ended their own lives.
And see
Life
how
is not meant
happy
to be
these people
easy.
are. Are these people truly
Mm,
happy with all that shit? I don't think they are. I mean,
no,
with
I
more
don't. I
money
don't think
comes a
money
lot of
can make you happy.
responsibility.
Anyone that thinks they've got a perfect life are very simple-minded.
Yeah,
They're not so bothered
material
about betting
possessions,
themselves.
cars,
Yeah, they don't.
houses, money.
Yeah. I think the perfect life is someone that continues to learn, make mistakes and learn. I think to make mistakes, to have regrets is not a good thing. To have regrets, it means that you've not learned from the
Yeah,
situation or the mistake you've made. I think to have regrets is dangerous because you'll make the same mistake again.
yeah, you're more likely to
Um,
go and try it and make a balls of it a second time around.
there you go. So I'd rather say, well, no, I learned. I'll then, I'll reset, readjust, and retry, but try in
Yeah.
a different manner.
Well, that's, as you said,
So
lifelong learning should be the goal for any human. I have a question. Speaking of learning, I have a very good question about sparring for BKB. Now, obviously, you compete in the ring, and you're allowed to wrap the hands now, but the knuckles need to be exposed.
yeah.
Whereas
That's
before,
the
you
best way
could
of doing it.
completely wrap the hand, but the knuckles can be exposed now, or are there to be exposed. Um, as far as sparring goes, do you spar just as a normal boxing rounds of sparring with gloves, or do you limit the size of the glove? Would you wear MMA gloves maybe for sparring, like the 7 or 8 ounce
So
MMA?
yeah, so I mix it up. I do mix it up. When it gets closer to the fight itself, I start to use MMA gloves for pads mainly. I do a hell of a lot of bare knuckle rounds on the heavy bag. I've got a specific bag that I use in the gym. That's, like I say, it's quite tightly packed, and it feels like you're hitting someone's body,
Yeah,
and it is solid. Um, and I've also got a canoe sack that's filled with sand in the back garden, and I hit that for conditioning
mm-hmm.
my knuckles. Now there's a bit of a debate on conditioning hands and conditioning knuckles.
Yeah.
Some people don't tend to do it, and some people do. And I've conditioned my knuckles and not had a break yet, so I, I'm not going to change what I'm doing because I don't see
Yeah.
the point. If it's not
Why
broke, don't
change
fix
it?
it.
Why change a winning ticket, if you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
win a
Why
formula.
change that
Yeah,
way? Yeah, formula's working for you. There was obviously that debate
exactly.
as well in Thai boxing about people who condition their shins, or MMA condition their shins to did block kicks or throw kicks. I was just thinking, when you guys are sparring, obviously, yes, the fights themselves look like a boxing match, but with the glove off,
Yeah.
and we discussed technique earlier on about whether or not the hands need to be at a different angle and stuff like that. But I just was always interested in the sparring. Is it just would you replicate the number of
No,
rounds you were going to do? So
so
if you're going to fight for five, do you replicate the five?
yeah, I only do 2 minute rounds now for sparring, just because I
Yep.
want my body to be conditioned to them rounds. The same amount of rest, the same amount of rounds.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I, more towards the fight itself, I start to dip off for the rounds and I start just doing my rounds that I'm going to be fighting.
Mm-hmm.
So I get my fitness peak, and then I just keep it steady. Um, but in terms of, so the question you asked earlier on about turning the hands and stuff, yeah, you'll find that you try and turn the hands a bit more because your hand speed's a bit quicker because you've got no gloves on. Bear in
Yep.
mind, you've done all them rounds of sparring, all them rounds of pads, you've done all them rounds on the bag. You've done it all with 12s and 14 ounces and sometimes 10s. But no matter what, your hand's always going to be faster without them on. So pulling the punches, even though you're pulling punches, your hands are still faster. You still get more of a
Yeah.
whip. And I always say about boxing, and I'm sure you'll agree with me when I say this. I compare it to a towel when you're whipping someone with a towel, when you're in the showers when you're younger, whatever. But whip the towel slow. It doesn't make a mark, doesn't make a noise, doesn't do anything. As soon
Mm-hmm.
as you put that crack on the end, that snap, that whip,
Yep.
that's the thing that causes the damage. Now, sometimes you don't have to be necessarily throwing the punch with everything from your shoulder, from your hips, from your legs. You just have to whip that shot on the end, bang, and that's the
Yeah.
thing. That's the thing that cuts them, and that's the thing that stuns them. Like I said earlier on, a little tap on the face, on the cheekbone. You don't have to be hard. That's not very fast. It's not very hard. But I tell you what, it fucking hurts. So I change things up and I try new things, and I mainly spar with gloves on, and I mainly spar as I would do normally.
Yeah.
I think just your pad works a bit different because you're using with just your MMA gloves on, and therefore you're getting actually focusing. That's where you're getting your sharpness,
Yeah.
and that's where you start to towards the very last 2 weeks of your training camp,
Mm.
you start to really notice how much of a change you've got to, how much difference you're going to be making.
As far as it now, but that we're talking about, literally, we're being the hammer at this stage. We're the guy or girl who's throwing the punches. As far as defensively goes, now we hear an awful lot in boxing all the time. People just shout, "Keep your hands up, keep your hands up." And in that respect, if you have a 10-ounce glove and you tuck your hand in, your 10-ounce glove covers a majority of your face, or an 8-ounce glove. In MMA, it's slightly different. The 4-ounce glove covers 0 of your face.
So you like that, yeah.
Yeah, so you can see a lot of guys maybe opening their hands to try and now that's in a covering scenario. Do you think there's a defensive difference? I'm a guy who likes to, well, I used to parry a lot of shots and defend with my hands and feet more as they're moving out of the way, try and scoop into shots. Do you think that is more prevalent in BKB rather than it should be, or?
No, so I've got a bit of a different outlook to a lot of other fighters within BKB. I use a hell of a lot of head movement. I'm pretty much like Tyler Goodjohn. Maybe he's a bit smoother on the head movement, but I certainly haven't taken as much punishment as he has so far. So must be doing something right. However, I don't keep my hand up tight like that to my face because it's just like a conker. If you play conkers, you know for a fact, or billiards, if you're playing pool, planting shot, one onto the other, it's going to hurt the same. If you do that with the hands against your face, you get caught on your hand with bare knuckle, you're most likely going to snap some. So I tend to keep my hands quite low. Sometimes just put that hand there in front of me. I put that hand there just in front of my mouth because if they're going to throw a jab, I can just parry it as normal. But I've also started to find that I can parry, and then as I parry, just tap my hand over the top and follow with a straight hand, because it's a shot that not many people use for some reason. Parry onto a backhand.
I teach it all the time, to be frankly honest with you.
Yeah, it's a brilliant shot.
I always teach the scoop and the parry, or the scoop and the rear hand over the top of a shot, because the hand's down, they're going to have to circle that hand back to throw it. You're there, you're already throwing a straight shot, which is better than a hook or a longer range shot.
Yeah, it's coming forward anyway. You might as well follow it on.
No, that's actually really interesting. I'm glad to see that there are definitely massive amounts of differences involved in bare knuckle and the professional game, and there's huge differences from the professional game into the amateur game. There's that little middle portion now that we're seeing in the white collar world or unlicensed world, and also in the World Series of Boxing when the amateur guys are allowed to take the head guards off and get paid. But we're seeing it now in the white collar world and also in unlicensed. It means just guys who are fighting virtually professionally but don't have a PK or a BBC license, maybe triple BSc license.
BBLC, yeah. So when it comes to, I was supposed to go for my pro license years ago and I never ended up getting it because I actually got done for a GBH years ago. I'm not going to go into details, but once again, I don't have no regrets. I would have done the same thing today as I would have done back then. But with the boxing and skill set of BKB fighters, I think there's a lot of people once again underestimating the skill set, and you'll find a lot of the pro fighters that have come through and done BKB, they found it a struggle because it's not the same as boxing. It's boxing, but it's not the same.
No, it's not.
Because even if it's fractionally different, if not keeping your hands up, normal boxing stance, the conventional stance is to keep your hands tight to your face and protect your chin at all times. I find that in BKB, most people should not do that, and that you should maybe just be very, very good and evasive with the head movement. That is that. Yeah. Footwork is slightly different because, well, you don't want to be against the ropes. Your footwork's got to be a bit more on point because if you're against ropes and you're taking shots, you can't take shots and cover. You can't cover like you normally do, so you can't stay in the same spot. Whereas in normal boxing, glove boxing, you can stand in that same spot and you can do a bit of a trade and you can cover up and, without taking them conquered shots, without taking them shots that are coming, you can't do that. So you've got to move off. And I think that what my next opponent thinks he's going to be able to do with me is get me against the ropes, hold the back of my neck, which is a big thing of his, and just hit through the middle on uppercuts, and it's just not going to work because I don't stay in one spot for more than a couple of seconds. I'm not going to be a static target.
What you're saying there is actually something I discussed with Johnny Dawson before, and what I had watched a lot of BKB is that the guys who have the better footwork and virtually almost box like a very well schooled amateur do really well. It's like that point scoring. So once they've hit, they're out of the way. They're not standing and throwing down. They're moving out of the way. They're not taking a shot. They're landing 3 or 4 maybe, and then they're out of the way and they're moving their head. And that's good that you're saying. That's nice to hear because it means that I wasn't talking mad shit because I was looking. What I saw was, yes, you can land that good clean shot, and then you need to move quickly because you can't take the risk of getting even a glancing blow, as we discussed, hurts, and you can risk a cut and risk the fight being lost, or all that training pissed down the wall because literally you just didn't move your head out of the way. You didn't take that little quarter step out. You didn't tuck your foot in, or you didn't cycle out of the way when you should do.
Yeah, I think you'll find with a lot of fighters now they're starting to realise that you got to understand with an hand it's a smaller missile than with a glove,
Yeah.
and you don't really need to move your head as much. You move your head more, but don't really move. You only have to come off centre line slightly to get away from that jab. It's literally a fist's width, and
I
that
say
is
the
it.
same thing about
So
MMA all the time. It's exactly that. You don't need this big, heavy, exaggerated movement. Just to roll the shoulder forward, and off the hand or whatever can pass by the ear, and you can still see that. It's letting you be more economical with your movement, plus allowing you obviously then to see what's better going on. If you're swinging your head outside, you're not getting the same perspective. That little tiny movement, that little nuance of shoulder forward, head comes off center line with a nice sort of, if you want, neutral spine position, you're still able to see and view what's taking place in front. Makes total sense.
of course, man. So like I said, mate, there's a lot of people underestimate the skill set of a BKB fighter, but I think you'll see more and more as professional conventional boxers come through.
Yeah.
They'll see that that it is hard. I mean, you had John Wayne Hibbert come through another fight not long back against and he's ex-English champion, and he fought against James Lilly, and it just wasn't for him. And
No,
he's an ex-English boxing champion.
You also saw a former professional world champion. He fought Ricky Hatton, Paulie Malignaggi take on Artem Lobov, the SBG fighter, and get fucking battered.
Yeah, once again.
Incidentally, that fight, if they'd had gloves on, I would have picked Malignaggi because, quite simply, with the gloves on, the guy's very, very slick. But with the gloves off, he's not used to having gloves off. His hands were smashed in the first round.
It also changes your mindset as well. Yeah. So going into a bare knuckle fight, right? So I see fear or people's fear of loss not through the fact that they're going to get hurt, but more the fact that they're going to get talked about and the reprisals of people's criticism. Now, for the foremost, people's criticism isn't very creative. It's dumb. It's, oh, he's shit, or I'm better than him, or he should have done this. It's crap criticism. For the better critics, it's he wasn't so slick. He didn't move so smooth. He wasn't so fluid. His hand speed wasn't as fast. He didn't throw so many combinations together. And the list goes on. Yeah, constructive. Yeah, creative and constructive. But the problem you've got with people who are fighters, combat sportsmen, their biggest fear is criticism, not the loss. Not even how they've lost, but what people are going to say afterwards. It's all about, listen, words hurt people, and people don't really understand just how bad words hurt.
Because again, you've touched on something that I talk about all the time when I'm coaching the people. I talk about extrinsic and intrinsic motivators and extrinsic and intrinsic factors that obviously act on a human. And the extrinsic factors, such as what other people are going to do or say about them, I try and talk about that a great deal. And that's one of the things I talk about. And that external influence, that what somebody, you can't control what another person fucking thinks of you. So you should try and dismiss it, but you can't. Because as you rightly pointed out, media is terrible. Social media, people are cruel, and they will, the fat, drunk twat who watches a fight goes, oh, I would have moved my head. No, you fucking wouldn't. You would have got punched repeatedly in the face, you fat loser. And I have a great deal of respect for people who can climb over that mountain and get over it. But the intrinsic factor, whenever you are worried more about how you perform, is a dangerous, dangerous thing. But I think that most fighters, you don't really get that because, you know what? You're going to have a fight. So that's out of the way. It's the extrinsic fact. So you've touched on something that I talk about quite a great deal. And what I want to do before we wrap this up, sadly, is to ask you, I want to ask you another couple of questions actually before we do.
More welcome.
There's a really brilliant book at the minute. Well, it's not at the minute. I've had it for fucking years. It's written by a British boxing writer and historian called Bob Mee, and it's called Bare Fists. Have you ever read it or ever seen it?
No, I've seen it. I've not got around to reading it yet, but I don't get around to reading a lot of stuff. I'm normally very busy with the family. I'm a busy person. I'm a busybody, basically. I don't stop.
No.
You're lucky to get me sat down for as long as you've got me.
What I wanted to know is, were you ever influenced by reading stories of like Cribb or Tom Sawyer or the great Jack Johnson or Corbett or any of these guys who were
You know,
BKB. And obviously there's hundreds of these guys. Tom Cribb being one of
yeah,
the greater. Tom Sawyer, one of the first ever English heavyweights. I think he was ridiculously tiny
it
man.
wasn't. I'm not. No, what I am. I was inspired by one. I actually read this book when I was in jail for my sins. Just so you know, I got sent down for protecting my family at home. I was a serving soldier on leave. I got attacked at my house, and I reacted as a soldier would. I thought I'm
as
all fight, no
as
flight,
most
and I
normal
got
people would.
yeah. So yeah, for my sins, I got a few years inside, and in there I used to read a hell of a lot. And I read a book by Pretty Boy Roy Shaw,
Oh yeah,
and
I think I've got
yeah.
it. Yeah, I think I've got it.
Yeah, so it was a bare knuckle fighter, and you know, I was seeing Lemmy Clean had a lot of to and forth over the years. But I read his book, and I was very, very shocked, but also it made me smile reading the book because I just thought to myself, I could imagine me doing some of the stuff he did
He was a
and got
pretty
up to.
cool dude. I actually remember watching a very
Yeah,
interesting thing about him after that. He kind of made his way. I think he sadly passed on now, but he made
yeah,
his way
he has.
made his way in life after the fight game, and he came out of it very, very well. So he's actually a pretty
Yeah,
cool dude.
yeah, so if you want to speak about guys who've got experience of life, he's definitely one of those. And I like to consider myself as one of them same sort of guys. For my years of 36, I've been there and done it. I've
Hmm.
been on both sides of the fence. I've got splinters on my ass. I've learnt a lot. I've loved a lot. I've lost a lot. So I'd like to say that, you know, with plenty. I mean, I plan on living forever, so 36 years is nothing compared to how long I'm
No,
going to live for.
fucking
So,
brilliant. Same
so
with me.
obviously. So yeah, I think so far I'd like to say that if I was to write a book, it'd go very well, and it'd be well read.
Start
So
documenting it now because I actually had somebody contact me earlier on, a friend of mine on Facebook, and said, I was just listening to one of your podcasts, and he was like, you need to write a book. And I was like, you're not the first person that said this to me. I would like somebody else to do it for me. Because
yeah, same mate. I like to ghostwrite. I need a ghostwriter.
I'm pretty much the same as you. I can't sit down for 5 minutes normally. Literally, when I get
I'm
off
also.
this,
Are you ADHD? I'm ADHD. It's
well,
terrible.
looking back on it, like you and I are not that different in age. Looking back on my school years, I think I probably was. I couldn't sit down. I couldn't stop talking. I was always in trouble, always being a wee dick. And now looking back, I don't think I could have helped it. I just think that was fucking it. I think, and my mind was always racing, always, hyperactive, annoying child. So I think it probably was when I was younger, but totally undiagnosed. But I know a lot of guys who fight, and fuck me,
I'm
they say the same
undiagnosed. Yeah,
things.
same.
A lot of guys I know who fight say the same thing. Oh yeah, I was totally hyperactive, man, couldn't sit still in school, constantly talking,
Gives
constantly
you
getting in trouble.
focus. Gives you focus in your life. That's what it does. It's brilliant, mate. Because what I went through a bit of a bout of depression a few years ago before I started the BKB, and it was a case of I'd stopped boxing for so many years, and I just couldn't find anything to keep my mind settled, for something to focus on, for something that for me, not just for me, just for me to do,
Yeah.
no one else, and needed this. So as much as BKB needs me, I need them.
Yeah, and one of the things that in mental health struggles, I think if you had a common cold in the world, you're going to have a mental health problem. Everybody experiences in some stage in their life.
Yeah,
And one of the things that I always found, as you said, you needed something. Once you come away from combat sports, you needed something. And what actually was the one of the things for me was long distance running marathons. I fucking became totally addicted to it, and that was it. And that
release
was
endorphins, though, doesn't it?
but it's very similar to combat sport. You train with a team, but you do it by yourself. If you don't do the work, it shows up on the day. It's all very similar, very linear pattern for me with running. Loved it, but now I need a hip replacement, so I can't even fucking run anymore. But yeah, I'll find something else. I'll have to
You'll
find
still
something
live forever. You'll still live
else.
forever. Play
Totally. Just
Tiddlywinks.
get new bits. That's what's going to happen. You're just going to like print a new bit.
Yeah, just find something new. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Rubik's cubes. Just see if you can
Cycling.
beat them.
I've gone back
Cycling.
to
Oh,
cycling.
cycling's good.
Yeah, gone back to
I
cycling.
just I just bought a 20-year-old Saracen Team Saracen bike.
Brilliant.
20-year-old £4,000 bike. Back then, and I got it
Mm-hmm.
for £250, and I swear to God, mate, what a bike! and I've had no but people complimenting it, and I just think, wow, never thought I'd have one of these. And 20
look,
years later, I've got one.
yeah, you and I are the same. I'm a bike geek. I have a shed full of bikes out there. I love them that much. So look,
It's a
before we
beast, man.
wrap up again, what is next for Smudger in BKB?
So looking down all avenues, I've assessed everything that's possible and all probabilities. Beat Hubert Gavin on the BKB 22 card. Become the British become the British or the third British prize fighter finalist and champion.
Mm-hmm.
Get that win under my belt. Moving forward after that, fight either the British title holder or the world title holder, which will be either one of my best pals, Scott McHugh, or James Lilly, who's also a good pal, or whoever's got the world title at the time. But I will not be leaving this sport without a title around my waist. That being said, that's obviously not including the prize fighter, because the prize fighter title's mine as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm.
And I just go as long as I can, as far as I can, and entertain. I think my biggest motivator really is to stay entertaining. I think once you stop being entertaining and you start to lose your way and your focus, I think that's time to give it up. And if I'm not enjoying it personally, if I'm not enjoying it, then
Yeah.
I need to stop. A lot of
No.
people want to keep going, keep trying to chase that buzz. If that buzz is gone, then I'll stop. But for now, I'm in a really nice place. I'm comfortable. I'm happy. I'm buzzing about everything that's going on, and I'm very, very, very motivated.
It's brilliant. So I ask a couple of questions at the end just so people get to know you a wee bit better. So, favorite film you've ever seen?
I've got two. So, Goodfellas
Great film,
and
fucking great film.
yeah, brilliant film, and Casino.
Fucking another great film. The bit in Casino where they're burying him with baseball bats is fucking horrific. Why did that pop into my fucking mind there? What a great film though. Tremendous film.
Terrible but good.
Oh
Terribly
yeah.
great.
It is. It's real, but it shows you the brutal nature of obviously organised crime in that era.
It's
So you
terrible,
probably
man.
answered the next one. Best book you've ever read?
Yeah, I don't know, there's a few, but my great uncle Brendan Behan actually wrote a book called The Borstal Boy.
Right.
He's an Irish author,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd probably either say that or Confessions of an Irish Rebel, which is also by the same guy.
Mm-hmm. I've never heard of him. I have to look him up.
Yeah, he's an Irish lyricist,
Mm-hmm.
playwright, poet, and he was also, for his sins, don't judge me on this, bear in mind,
Mm-hmm.
he was also, as a young kid, very, very naively joined the IRA.
Like a lot of people did. But again, you being from a British military background, obviously you don't hold any grudges against him.
No.
And times have changed in this country. I am so fucking happy to say times have changed in this country that people
Great,
can,
man. It's great.
people can literally live their lives without fear of terrorists around the corner most of the time. So we're fucking glad to see that. And finally,
Great.
do you ever play any video games?
Play Candy Crush. My last fucking hates it.
That's it.
I don't do video games, mate. I think I find them pointless. People and they do stress a lot of people out. Not that I get stressed out so easily, but a lot of people the tight. I don't know. They bury their heads in them, and I think it set the wasting lives away.
A lot of fighters I find as well. I'm a bit of a game nerd. If you could see the room that I'm in, if I turned this computer around, you would see all my nerdy gaming stuff. But a lot of fighters I find are gamers. You have like Mark Hunt. You have obviously Demetrius Johnson was sponsored by Xbox in the UFC, and I know a lot of boxers are gamers too. Sean O'Malley, another MMA fighter, actually has his own gaming channel.
Well, they are criticising them guys. They don't get made punched in.
I know. Trust me, I think you're safe. They're not going to come all that way to get you. Listen, I have had a fucking brilliant time talking to you today, and honestly,
you too, man.
as I said before, you're probably one of the coolest dudes in the sport. You're somebody who I really enjoyed watching. Before we leave, is there anybody you want to give a shout out to? Sponsors, teammates, training partners, gym mates, anything like that?
Yeah, of course, man. So all my opponents I've fought in the past, all my up and coming opponents for putting the time and effort in to train and fight me. Give you all respect, even though we've got a bit of needle with the next one. I've got a lot of respect for him. My team, Golden Team, absolutely brilliant. They're like my church. They're the people that kept me going, kept me alive, kept me breathing. I've so many sponsors. We've got a vest full of sponsors, logos here, there, and everywhere, and every one of them equally as good as the last. All help me out individually in their own in a separate way. And lastly, well, not even lastly, I'd say before I say thanks to all my fans, because all you guys are the ones that actually help put us where we are and keep the sport going and getting better and bigger. But my missus and my kids, they're my biggest motivators, and it's so cliche to say, but you know, without them guys, you sometimes look at yourself and think, why am I doing this? But I want to leave a legacy, and I want to show my boy, especially 6-year-old, I want to show him that times are sometimes hard, and when they're hard, it doesn't mean that you have to quit, you have to give up, or
Yeah,
you can't keep trying. But you know, I want him to know that tough times don't last. Tough people do.
it's a very good way to teach anybody anything. Listen, I've had, as I said before, a fantastic time chatting with you.
Do it again
Good,
sometime after the Hubert fight.
100%, absolutely 100%. Get you on straight away after that. Actually, that would be brilliant. I was going to say good luck in that fight. Although I believe obviously your skill set, I think he probably is ducking you a wee bit if he's hiding away and not getting
Yeah.
the weight done, or says he's sitting for the commas for his hand. So all of this from us here on our fight cast, we wish you all the very, very best in your next upcoming endeavour. Is there any social media accounts you want to give a shout out to as well? You obviously have your own social media.
Yeah, just find me on Instagram, Smudger BKB, Twitter BKB, Smudger BKB, sorry. YouTube, there's quite a bit of cool content in there, including a couple of bare knuckle fights I've had in the yards on there, which is Smudger Smith BKB. Just anything Smudger BKB really. If you go on TikTok as well, there's a few funny videos of me being out and about with the boys, and the party trick we'll leave on that. There you go, little party trick.
Thank you very much for your time today. Listen, we have been Not Another Fightcast. You can find us on all the forms of social media, on YouTube and on Instagram, or the socials as I like to call it, and on Facebook at Not Another Fightcast. Please, please, please go and give this gentleman a like, a subscribe, and a share. And please tune in to watch him fight again when it comes around once this horrible lockdown situation is over. This has been an awesome show, folks. We are very, very grateful for everybody who takes the time out of their living conditions, their working day, whatever it is, to live and watch, to enjoy what we do, to listen to our podcast. We thank every one of you, and it is fantastic and brilliant today to bring somebody along Smudger. So please give myself a follow at _icon77 if you just want to see boxing videos, pictures of my dog. And also please go and follow Mr. PZ_commentary, Mr. Phil Campbell, the great and powerful, all round the world flipping genius that the man is, a fantastic commentator. Thank you very much for your time today, folks.
Thank you, buddy.
Maybe Not Another Fightcast, and goodbye.
Take care, buddy.